Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse pregame show live with Quis from Sports Vibes TV. Thank you for joining me, brother.
Anytime,
How you
anytime.
doing, man?
Good. How's everything with you?
I'm doing okay. I just been reading a lot about what's going on with the Knicks and with other teams in the NBA. It's pretty fascinating. Of course, trade season is here, and it's always exciting. And I find it interesting. The Knicks, the only team that's made a trade so far,
Right.
and that was Cam, who's played all
And we're
of.
not even playing them,
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
yep. And we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that Cam situation. But first, I want to do is shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. We got going a little late today, Monday after the weekend here, and we got a big game with the Kings because it's an interesting game. These two teams have been rumored as potential trade buddies. So we're going to get into one of the crazier trade proposals that I've read recently, but it's worth to discuss. But we're also going to discuss the situation with Cam and what's it going to take for him to get some minutes. And if there really is a double standard going on, and if there is that a reason why the team feels a bit fragmented right now? We're going to dive into all of that. But shout out to the chat, Keith, if you want to shout out to anybody.
Yeah, give us big shout out to Tellum, Alejandro, Sincere the Genius, Eric Liu, Jonathan Ruiz, Black Caesar. Salute to you guys. Also, salute to we surveyed 100 people. I'm sure he'll pull up with the starting lineup.
That'd be awesome. We much appreciate that, brother. Very much. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Tell him, Alejandro, good to see you here, man. Haven't seen you in a little while. Let's see who else. Jonathan Ruiz, Black Caesar. I love the spelling of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, excellent. Okay, so first thing, one thing I want to talk to you about, and I wish I had the video to pull up. I feel like Thibs has changed course in his approach to minutes, to justifying who gets minutes and who doesn't. Did you see that post game where I unfortunately I had seen it after I did my recap, so I haven't had a chance to talk about it at all. But did you see the post game?
Yeah, I saw some snippets of it.
What were your feelings about that?
I mean, like you said, it seems like he's changed, but I think he's kind of changed course because he just doesn't like the new addition in Cam. So I think he's speaking some coach talk, just trying to keep, the media and fans at bay because they know, he knows we're clamoring for more Cam Reddish in the lineup. And I think when you listen to what some of the things that he said, talking about it's a long season and you got to have some patience. I just think it's him kind of kicking the can down the road and just trying to get the vets as many minutes as possible until they can kick it into gear so that he can have a legitimate excuse as to why he's playing them X amount of minutes. That's honestly what I think Tibbs was leaning towards with some of his comments.
Yeah, because to me it feels like a complete 180. We had the infamous post game interview where he dropped the bullshit bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And he said basically he was giving you 40 games. He said after 40 games, then it's bullshit. Well, we're beginning game 51 tonight, so we're way past the bullshit phase, I guess. So now it's just I'm going to do anything possible to motivate my guys, even if I have to completely pull a 180 in my approach to holding players accountable to earn minutes on the floor. I think that's the thing that's troubling me the most, because here's the reason why. So we got Cam. I guess we're going to dive right into the Cam discussion now. So Cam, we brought to this team, and like you said, you feel like possibly it wasn't a real Thibs move.
Like a lot of the moves we've made recently aren't Tibbs moves. And we can see that based on the rotation and the plays that he's putting out there.
Yeah. And also he used the scouts. Scouts liked him.
Mm-hmm.
He
said
gave him
the
the
same
Luka.
thing about Yeah, the Luka Vildoza treatment. He said that about Luka. Same thing where and also during one of the meetings, he said that he called Cam, talked to Cam about some of the things he's seen from him out there on the court. And me personally, I don't think a coach is going to make that type of call to a player. And if it's a positive call, not put them out there on the court. So I think that was a negative call from jump. You saw with Luka Vildoza when he first came over here, some of the first few things we've heard him say was that his defense was terrible. And I'm pretty sure we know who that came from. So there's a few things that's been going on with Cam since he's gotten here and how Tibbs has spoken about him that leads me to believe that he's not the biggest fan of Cam Reddish. And I think that does not bode well for the development of him, of Reddish with this team.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that it's possible, like you said, that Thibs wasn't on board with the Fournier and Kemba signings to begin with. But he felt, because, he leans towards vets anyway, he felt he had to start them. He had to give this approach a chance. And his boss, Leon, is the one who made the final decision to bring them in. So you can't really go that much against it, or else, And he had to give it a chance so that he can later, if it doesn't work out, justify making adjustments. Now he benched Kemba, but he went the full extreme by just completely taking him out of the rotation completely. Is he trying to force Leon? Is he trying to force his hand by not playing Cam? Is he doing this to force Leon to open up space for Cam to play?
I think Tibbs is coaching for his job. I mean, if you hear how a lot of things are going, there's a lot of uproar with Julius Randle. I think a lot of people think Tibbs is tied to Julius Randle. So you look at the way Tibbs is running his team and the kind of leeway he's giving Randle out there on the court. If we don't see positive, if we don't see some wins, there's going to be a lot of animosity towards Tibbs as a coach, because a lot of his rotations people have issues with. A lot of the ways he's treating some of the younger guys compared to some of the older guys, we're not really jiving with. So if Tibbs does not try and I think go with the vets, which he thinks, and I would believe in his heart of hearts gives him the best opportunity to win, then I feel like he might put himself on the hot seat. So I think he's coaching this season right now as if things go south, move from this point forward, he could very well be on his way out in the offseason. So I think that's fueling a lot of Tibbs's decision as opposed to trying to force the front office's hand. Because, like I say, Tibbs is not a young coach. So he's got, another 3 years on his deal. I'm not sure if he's going to get another one after this. So I don't know if he has enough time to really play that game and try to force the front office's hand.
So then what? So he's just so there's nothing else behind his choosing to not even give Cam any meaningful minutes at all. There's no like secondary, he's not trying to do anything behind the scenes where he's trying to force Leon to make a move. You think he's just
I think the players he's putting out there on the court give him the best opportunity. In his opinion, give him the best opportunity to win. Mixed with him not necessarily being in Cam's corner or being a fan of Cam, the player. He might be a fan of Cam and the physical profile. Him being 6'8", an elite wing defender, or having the skills to be that. But I think you look at Cam, the type of player he is, and some issues that have kind of followed him from college to the pros with lack of motor, not really being the most engaged player out there on the court. You add all those together and you can see why Tibbs might not want to really throw him out there when you have guys like Alec Burks, who he knows he's going to at least get some defense from, who has already earned his trust, and then a guy like Evan Fournier, who we gave big money to, and also we've seen him have offensive explosions here and there. I can kind of see why Tibbs would side with those two over a Cam Reddish, even though I think personally that Cam, both short term and long term, should be getting a lot of those minutes out there.
Here's the risk that Thibs runs right now. So on this team, we have Obi and IQ. They're the second-year players. Grimes, Deuce, Sims, first-year players, but Grimes is more significant because he's actually in a rotation. Those guys, they see Cam Reddish come onto the team. Now, Cam Reddish, he's not a first-year, second-year player. He's a third-year player playing for a contract. He's a contemporary of RJ. He's already, he's had some breakout games already, 2 30-point games this season. He had a very nice he came back for
Series
the
against the
playoffs.
Bucks.
Yeah, right. Excellent against the Bucks. This guy's already earned a stripe. And now he gets brought to this team and he's like on the back of the line.
Mm-hmm.
The other guys see that. There's a camaraderie amongst, of course, it's competitive amongst players, but there's also a sense of like respect and understanding and trying to learn from the guys who are ahead of you. And if they see Cam being treated like this, they might be worried about their own careers. Like everyone's kind of they're playing to not make mistakes as opposed to playing to excel. It feels like sometimes.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the young guys play a little bit tight at times, especially when you see Deuce get into the game. Those few minutes he's thrown in here and there in blowouts.
Yeah. And we even heard Obi even use the words, "I don't want to make a mistake."
Mm-hmm.
So he's got it. I mean, it's created an environment where everyone's a bit on pins and needles. Everyone's so worried about getting yanked, except for RJ, who's actually thriving. And Grimes is actually thriving now too. I'm really, really pleased with Grimes, man.
Yeah, he's been doing his thing, playing solid defense night in and night out. And I think, his shot, some nights it's there, some nights it's not. But one thing he's bringing every single night is the defense. And that's what's getting him out there. That's what's getting him the minutes over, let's say, a Cam who, if we put in there, we're not going to be 100% sure we're going to get top-notch defense through, night in and night out. So I think Grimes definitely has to be applauded for that. What we can do, I think, to get him a little bit more involved, I think, offensively, especially when his shot is falling, because when he's hitting his shot, he's deadly out there, and he doesn't think twice. He's confident when he pulls. So I like Grimes as well, George.
Yeah, and the thing is, Grimes, Thibs is a huge fan of Grimes. He liked him from the combine and in the summer, and the same with Deuce. I think Thibs would like to play Deuce, but he's in a tough spot because he doesn't see Kemba playing alongside other small guards. And there's a reason for that. That makes some sense. But then he plays him again opposite next to Fournier, who, I mean, those are two.
Terrible defensively.
Yeah.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So I have a question for you. If you were given the keys to these Knicks, the current state of the Knicks right now, what would you do for the next 3 months with this team as the coach and the GM? Let's say you had the dual.
So I'd find a way to ship Randle, Fournier, or either Fournier or Burks, one of the two. I can keep one of them, but those two have to go. I would then try to find minutes to get Cam more involved, and hopefully Cam can win out and get minutes as I start in 3. That would allow us to put RJ back towards the 2. Now, point guard is a little bit tricky, especially since, are we going to be able to find a trade partner for Kemba? If we are, then I would move Kemba in a trade. If not, I would have to consider cutting him, freeing up that spot, especially when Derrick Rose comes back. And in that way, I can either elevate Emmanuel quickly as the starting point guard and see how the offense flows with him, or I can have Derrick Rose be elevated into the starting point guard, and then I have Emmanuel quickly coming off the bench. So then you'd have the starting lineup of D Rose, RJ, Cam, Obi, and then Mitch.
D Rose, RJ, Cam, Obi, and Mitch.
But if Quick can handle the responsibilities of running the show as a starter, then you would just swap D Rose for Quick and leave D Rose as that point guard coming off the bench.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with either scenario. I mean, you get a little bit of pluses by having Rose start and IQ come off the bench, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. I think they're both gonna be plus players for both units. So I think that's If Rose return, and we did hear that Rose might return right after the
Targeted
All-Star
February
game.
25th, I think, is when he's targeted.
Yeah, February 25th, which leaves us, how many games does that leave us? I should have looked ahead. See if we can pull that up.
About, let me check the Knicks schedule.
I was pretty heated over the weekend. As you guys,
I mean, the last 2 games, the Knicks have never even had a lead, so I can understand why you're heated.
Yeah. Especially Randle, man. I honestly, here's the thing. There's this trade rumor, there's like been discussed, that's been discussed between Kings and Knicks potentially being perfect trade buddies. But it's not necessarily swapping Fox and Randle. One team would keep one of those two guys. Two of those two guys would have two.
Somebody's getting a Fox Randle combo.
Yeah. Somebody's getting a Fox Randle combo, or yes, that's right. In this scenario, you guys are going to be surprised who it is. Let's just jump to it. But wait, before we get to that, I agree basically everything what you just said about what you would do for the next 3 months. I think it's absolutely 100% instrumental that we either move Randle, or I would be very clear with him and say, look, we're not going to move you right now, but I'm going to be frank with you, brother. If you don't get your shit together, you're gone this summer. And you're not going to have a say where you're going to go. So what I'm saying to you is, get your shit together.
George putting his foot down.
That's it. Look, he wins. It's a win-win all around. He gets his shit together. We get our Randle back. Straighten.
We get our Randle back.
Yeah, we get our Randle back, and then we can readdress in the summer if possibly New York isn't the best place for him, but he's refurbished his image, his stats, and many. Right now we're hearing 5 or 6 people of teams have inquired about him. Who knows? There aren't that many, power forwards like him in the game. So if he could refurbish his image, he might end up in a nice place, in a nice situation for himself, and we get a nice piece in return. But right now, he's played himself so below his actual true value that it makes a trade difficult for teams, for like the Knicks, to get the proper
true value.
Yeah, the proper compensation. But that's if he stayed. I would tell him, I said, we're not trading you right now because we can't find the right pieces in return. However, you're gone, man, if you don't get your shit together. It's got to be the way.
For it. I'm all for it, man.
Yeah.
See the lack of energy he's giving out there. He's got to go, or he's got to, buy in. That's all we're asking, honestly.
Yeah.
Players are going to have bad nights. Just buy in and give us your all when you're out there on the court. It shouldn't be difficult.
It shouldn't. And plus, he's already done it here before.
I mean, it's a little different. Only 2,000 fans in the stands, or whatever the case may be back then.
Yeah. But you heard last time I put those numbers out, like how he closed last season. I mean, he was averaging 27.3 points per game in the last 16 games when there was people starting to come in to the stadium, into the arena. He was starting to play in front of crowds. It wasn't as big as it is now, but still, he should be able to recapture it. The other thing is, I honestly, if we could find a partner for him, I'd trade him before February. I mean, by the deadline, I would definitely find a new home for him, because he's right now, he has quit on his team. He's quit on his teammates. You showed it in the Sunday game stream, the whole thing with Obi, and then there was a Mitch one. Mitch one. I remember the Mitch one too, but we didn't really get on it because it was just one isolated. But that second one with Obi was so obvious, and I showed it in the recap as well. I think it's best for everybody if they do find a home, and hopefully a team will present a package that's worthy of his talents, even though right now he's performing terribly. He's one of the least efficient, high volume shooters. In fact, I think he's the second, number 2. Though that changes constantly, but he was number 1. He was the worst, and now he's like the second worst or whatever. but he's definitely has to go. Let's take a minute here to just shout out the chat.
Also, George, we have not after this game. We'll have 9 games before February 25th.
9 before
February 25th. Yeah, February 25th would be the 9th game, and I believe that's against the Heat.
So we'll only have like 21 games or so with Rose.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
22 to be exact.
22. Okay. Interesting.
I mean, hope when he returns, we're still at least in playoff contention or play-in contention at that. We got a tough stretch over those 9 games.
We have a tough stretch.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Grizzlies, Jazz, Nuggets, Warriors. I didn't even mention the Lakers. They're, dysfunctional as well when LeBron's out. But
it's crazy. We got some chats here. Hey, salute, brother. BKL Contreras.
Salute our guy, Lex the Destroyer.
Yeah, and Lex.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yes, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and turn on the notification bell so you know when we go live or drop new videos. And subscribe to Sports Vibes TV and the thumbs ups and comments whenever you got them. Just drop them in there. I read them all. Fantastic. It really helped us here. Let's see here. Okay, let's move on to this pretty wild trade. So Kings and Knicks, perfect trade buddies? Well, it seems like they could be, because both teams are looking to upgrade in one form or another. There's been a lot of speculation about an actual Randle for Fox trade with other pieces, whatever, to make it work, but would be at the core of the trade. And I was one of those to propose that as well. I tweeted it out. I said that it makes perfect sense in a lot of ways, because they're both players that are having down years who could probably benefit from a change of scenery. Number one. Number two is both teams have a high quality player waiting to take over the spot of the player they'd be trading. So we have Obi to take over the 4th spot, the number 4 spot over for Randle, and they have Halliburton, and they have Davion Mitchell, but they have Halliburton to take over the Davion Fox point guard role. And then they would benefit from having Randle, and we would benefit from getting a point guard like De'Aaron Fox. Both players come with downsides for both franchises. And the hope is that the new change of scenery and that the coaching staffs on either side can help reignite or ignite, like in De'Aaron Fox defensively. He definitely has not been a good defensive player in the NBA since he came on. And Randle, maybe he can recapture his little bit of the player that he was last season. De'Aaron is a high scorer. However, his 3-point shot hasn't been the same since year 2, where he shot 37%. He's been pretty poor, including this season. However, NBA Analysis Network put out this article recently, I think it was over the weekend, where the Knicks would receive De'Aaron Fox and Maurice Harkless in exchange for, now get this, Evan Fournier, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, the 2022 first-round pick, the 2024 first-round pick, the 2026 first-round pick, a 2023 first-round pick swap, a 2025 first-round pick swap. Wow. That is a lot, but it means, interestingly enough, that we will have a big 3 of sorts of Fox, Randle, and RJ. So we'd actually finally get that stud point guard to pair up with RJ and Randle. Quis.
I mean, you call that a big 3, but there's probably a few dynamic duos in the NBA that are better than that.
Absolutely. But the idea would be that now you have 3 guys who could get you a bucket.
I hear you. That's a lot, though. That's so. Just to make sure we got it correct, that's 3 firsts, and then that's 2 swaps.
Yeah.
On top of Obi, Quick, and Grimes, and I'm not really counting Fournier because you kind of want him out of here. That's 3 prized possessions in Obi,
So a lot of
Quick,
that's because of the
and
salaries
Grimes.
too. They're trying to match salaries too. So we need to. Yeah.
But you also can't deplete the team completely, and I feel like you take away all our depth at that point. You kind of take away all our bench mob. Grimes, Quick, Obi, they're all part of the bench mob, and Fournier, you can live with that. But on top of that, you're also taking any chances of us trying to build in the future through the draft by giving up 3 firsts and 2 swaps. And I don't think we get that much better to the point where it would justify giving up that much. Honestly, how far is a team led by RJ, Randle, and Fox, getting? I don't think they're getting past the second round. Do you? Especially when you take away a lot of that depth.
Yeah. And also it puts the onus on the Knicks to reignite both of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Not just
like,
both of these guys. You got to do. Remember, we still have Cam, so you got to get Cam involved as well. There's a lot going on there.
well, I guess RJ would slide over to the shooting guard position. Cam would take the Fournier position.
No, but you got to work with Cam as well. So you got to work with Julius Randle, try to get him back on track. You got to work with De'Aaron Fox, try to get him back on track. You got to work with Cam, try to get Cam situated in the NBA. And then RJ Barrett, you still want him to develop and get better. That's a lot of variables right there. And I think to see a team with those guys put together, see their maximum potential, you'd have to hit on all 4. And I don't know if I trust the Knicks right now to say that we'd hit on developing all 4 of those guys. Well, rehabbing Fox and Randle and then developing RJ and Cam.
I agree with you. Here's a question I have. That exact package Fournier that we would be sending to the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
What about for DeJounte Murray for the Spurs?
I mean, I would try to see if I can keep some of those young guys and give them Julius Randle. I think the issue is, even if you bring in somebody and try to pair them with Randle, we haven't seen enough this season to give me, the confidence to make a move like that, to invest in building around Julius Randle. So when you look at bringing in DeJounte Murray, it's still a lot. But if I had a piece where I could say, hey, with DeJounte Murray, we now are being put, we're going to be put over the top, and we're going to get past the second round, and we are going to at least have a realistic shot of getting to the finals. And maybe I might make a last-ditch effort like that and bring in a DeJounte Murray. But even that, I think, is a little bit too much. If we can put Julius Randle in, maybe keep Obi, maybe keep Grimes, and try to find a way to make a deal work like that, have the Spurs match salaries, of course, but I don't know if I'd give all that for Murray as well. Murray, I might maybe give 2 firsts and a couple players.
Yeah, we'd have to give up some young players because
Mm-hmm.
they would probably want Quickly and Grimes. They probably want. I mean, those 2 are the most attractive of our young players, especially since they're giving us a guard. And I think.
But see, wouldn't that be a better deal than this? Wouldn't you
Yeah.
rather pair Murray with 2 firsts and a couple young guys shipped out, as opposed to shipping out the entire bench? Because all you're left with on the bench is now Nerlens Noel, who's in and out the lineup, and Derrick Rose when he returns, who's in and out the lineup. So now we really don't have any stability with our bench unit, which ironically is the best unit on this team. So we're gonna jettison the entire bench and bring in Fox, and we don't really know how they're gonna mesh. That it could work. I'm not gonna sit here and say this is something that would have no chance working out, but I think it's way too risky for where we are as a franchise right now.
So you're hesitant to give up too much right now because we have too many question marks.
We're not in a position. We have way too many question marks, and we're not really in a position where one move puts us over the hump. If we were in a position where all it took, like look at the Nets, they gave up a crazy amount of capital for James Harden because they felt that one player put them over the hump, and I don't feel like De'Aaron Fox is going to be that type of player to push us over the hump. So no, way too much.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm not the biggest fan of Fox's game fitting with RJ Barrett. I feel like there might be some clashes there.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm not sure how that would work out. Though RJ he's a little more adaptable. than a
He's
lot of these.
adaptable, but what do we want? Do we want RJ to adapt, or do we want
Yeah,
to put RJ in a position where he's in the best spot to succeed? You
yeah.
know,
I hear
we
you,
have
man.
the role players adapt. Let Grimes adapt, let Quick adapt. But
Yeah,
RJ, we want those. We want players to adapt to him.
I agree.
In a perfect world, of course, he still has to build towards that.
Yeah. Also, I think RJ definitely works better with players that cut.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
there's off-ball movement. There's cutting. So when he drives, he has options for guys to look.
he
To
has outlets. Yep.
outlets. That's one of the things I like about him with Mitch on the court. He doesn't get as much time with Obi, but it's nice even when he's on the court with Obi. You can see there's a nice little two-man game happening between them. So all right, here's the thing. Quis, you have to make a trade by February 10th. What's that trade going to be?
I have to make a move. It's going to be to get Randle out of here and see if I can bring back either a young-ish player that I can kind of rehab, similar to like a Cam Reddish. So maybe you look at I don't know, the Magic, maybe see if you can get a deal done with Bamba. Maybe they have a contract that expires next season. So you bring that in, bring in Bamba and have him maybe see if he could be the stretch five of our future. That might be a move you can go, or you can try to see if somebody will take Julius Randle off your hand in a package for a solution at point guard.
Well, there's Jalen Brunson. It's been discussed.
Yeah, Brunson's an option.
Yeah, it might take a three-team deal
Mm-hmm.
where we move Randle, we get Brunson, and there's a third partner there.
Somebody gets Tim Hardaway or something crazy like that.
Yeah, something like that. That might be the best scenario. So really, so are you willing to sell short on sell low on Randle?
I don't. If we trade Randle this season, we're gonna be trading low. But I don't want to trade him just to say we need to get him out of here. Yes, he has to go, but you have to remember you have to get decent value in return. So you don't want to give him away for free, similar to how we got Cam for practically free. You still want to get something where you can say, all right, this is a piece of return that can help us build in the future.
Yeah.
Or towards the future.
A team that I think could be interesting for Randle are the Trailblazers.
Are you going to try to get your guy Simons?
Well, I would love to get him. I would love to get him. I'm Anthony Simons is the real deal. We're excited about DeJounte Murray. Simons is going to be, I think he's going to be a better player than Murray, or at least a more impactful player in terms of scoring for sure. I mean, that guy he's got it. He's got the game. He's got the three levels. He's becoming a very good passer. He's still incredibly young. I like him. But I think there's something here's the rationale for the Portland Trailblazers in acquiring Julius Randle. Number one, it's a low-key media market. Very low-key. Randle is not he's not this player that we're seeing right now. And maybe he's not the all-star player from last season either, but he's definitely closer to that than he is to this. You can't achieve that as a fluke. You can do it for a month. You can do it for, a couple of weeks, but you can't do it for a full season and not have that within you. So he has that in him. He just has to get his head straight. And he could be that power forward position that the Trailblazers desperately need if they are serious about holding on to Dame and building around him for another run. And we talked about this a little bit.
Another run. They haven't had a run yet.
Yeah, and they haven't even had a real run. Exactly. I mean, they made it to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble year.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They haven't really had that real run. So, but they don't want to trade Dame. So and so you have to acquire pieces. You're going to have to give a little bit on something. You're not going to acquire a superstar. So you got to get someone who is damaged goods. And Randle right now is damaged goods. He needs a little bit of emotional repair. And maybe they can reignite that guy there and then pair him with CJ McCollum and Dame. But what would it take for them to acquire Randle from us? They have Robert Covington. They have the center
Nurkic.
Yeah, who's a free agent, which I kind of don't mind that, honestly. I don't mind acquiring an aspiring
So
contract.
you want to get rid of the contract and
I don't.
free up, what is it, about 23, 26 mil, something in that
Yeah,
ballpark?
yeah,
And use that to spend in 2023
yeah,
or 2022?
yeah. And we can also use it to get Jalen Brunson in the summer as a free agent and not have to give up assets to him. And maybe we can get some picks out of the Trailblazers for Randle.
I mean, it could be something we could pursue. The only thing is, you look at that deal. If we do bring in a Covington, then that's kind of blocking Cam even further.
But he wouldn't start.
I
Covington wouldn't start. Covington would be coming off the bench, defensive guy.
Well, that leads us to the last conversation we had. Remember when I said, the reason I wouldn't say I'm going to start Cam over Grimes is because Grimes has been performing well. And if you start Cam over Grimes and still have Fournier and Burks, where's Grimes' minutes going to go? So now if you bring in a Covington, you have Cam as the starter, then where are Grimes' minutes going to go if you still got to get some minutes for Covington? The same thing vice versa. If you start Grimes, you have Covington, who you just traded for. You're going to not have as many minutes to really give Cam to develop.
Maybe we flip
that's where it gets real tricky.
Yeah, maybe we can flip Covington to Utah, and they take him and Burks, and we get something from them. I think it's a bunch of little moves like this that could clear the path, because I think this approach to clear the path for our young players to grow and blossom, I think it's the right idea. I think that's the right way to go at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. Shout out to the chat before we dive into the pregame part of it. Lex holding it down. Gideon Amakwa, if I said it correctly. I wouldn't mind Fox.
I would trade for KPJ and Wood, but I don't know, man. They had issues with their coaching staff down there. Seem like they could be malcontents. We already have one in the locker room. I don't need to add two more.
I like Wood, though.
Yeah, he's a solid player for what he can provide out there on the court. He could be that stretch five. He can rebound, block you some shots. But, he's having flare-ups with the coach refusing to go in. That could be a recipe for trouble.
Yeah. Here we go. Jordan Diaz. I want LeVert, Dragic, Sexton, Conley. He wants everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, I like LeVert, but I don't know. I think the Pacers want 2 firsts. Definitely.
They want 2 firsts for LeVert? God bless him.
2 firsts, yeah.
God bless him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say, any deal we make, I think, if we're gonna include Julius Randle, is probably gonna be a 3 to 4 team deal, just to make sure that the money works and we still able to free up space for some of these young guys if we actually decide to move forward with the youth movement.
Yes. Actually, there is a trade with the Kings involving some of these players that I think.
Oh, the one with Bagley?
It was, yeah. Was it, what did he propose?
I think I can't remember who the Knicks gave up. It was Fox and Bagley. Is that one?
Yeah, Marvin. Yeah, that was Tommy Beer. Yeah. No, you know what? At this point, I would trade Randle just to because we need to find a home for him. I'd take Harrison Barnes, and then whatever else needs to be added to make. Actually, I think the salaries do match up pretty well, because
Barnes is getting paid a pretty penny.
Yeah. Harrison Barnes is still pretty young. I think he's 28, 29 years old. He doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time. He actually he's a good productive player. He can still shoot the 3. He can finish around the basket. The guy, he has championship pedgree. He'd be an interesting player. Now we would need to get some picks in return. But that is a situation that I would like that situation, to get Barnes in return for Randle and some picks. Perhaps we throw in some other aspects in it, like maybe we throw Kemba in there to offload a contract for us, and then they can do whatever they wish with him. Or like we were saying, we need to get rid of either Burks or Fournier. But I think there's something in a Harrison Barnes that appeals to me, and I think we're going to start hearing some more smoke about that. Have you heard anything about Barnes?
Not necessarily. I mean, but Barnes is always included in trade talks every trade season. But I pulled up his contract, and he's making $20.2 million this season, and then it goes down to 18.3. So the money matches up. But the only thing is, when we look at these trades, and I look at the Knicks, I think with wings, we're fine if we don't move on from either Burks or Fournier. If we keep one of those, I think we're good at the 2 or the 3, along with RJ. But we still have holes at point guard or center. So any move that I'm trying to make is going to try to fill one of those 2 issues. To bring in another wing, I feel like it's just gonna, I keep repeating it. It's gonna push Cam further and further back in the rotation. We already know how Tibbs is with the vets. We bring in a guy like Harrison Barnes. He's probably going to give Harrison Barnes 25 to 30 minutes, and he's still going to give Grimes his, customary 25 to 27 minutes we've seen him play recently. And Cam is going to be out the loop. Like I said, I don't think Tibbs is a big fan of Cam Reddish. We've seen the front office make a few moves, either in the offseason or in season. But I don't think Tibbs is really necessarily on board with the move. And I think Cam is one of them. I think the Knicks found themselves in a situation where they can get a tantalizing player like a Cam Reddish. They made the deal, and they gave him the Tibbs and said, "All right, Tibbs, figure it out."
Yeah.
And this is Tibbs' way of figuring it out.
I agree. I'm not sure he doesn't like Cam. I don't think he likes the situation that he's been placed in with Cam on the roster. But it's almost the same thing.
I mean, George,
it's almost the same thing.
You see the team floundering the way it is, and if you like a player, you say he's got perfect size, ideal size. He can shoot the 3. He can play 2 to 3. He can play the 2 to 3 or the 4. Why aren't you putting him out there if you feel like he can help this team win? The only thing like I can think of is you feel like he's not necessarily the best option to put out there if you're trying to get some W's.
Yeah. There's a struggle going on with this team where the Knicks are definitely in turmoil, and luckily we have the Kings as the team we're playing tonight. They have they're 2-8 in the last 10 games. They're scoring almost 110 points, but they're allowing almost 118 per game for a minus 8.1 differential. The Knicks are 4-6 in the last 10, 103.1 points per game, allowing 103 points per game. So just a 0.1 differential, pretty much even, as the record is almost even. We're almost 5-5, so it just shows you there. The assists we're averaging we're averaging less assists than the Kings. That shows how bad we are in terms of finding the open guy. 22.7 assists per game. They're averaging 24. They're shooting better field goal percentage than we are. We're one of the top rebounding teams in the league, so that definitely we're leading. On paper, it's a game that we should destroy the Sacramento Kings, but we've said that before,
time and time again, and they disappoint us.
Yes, they do. Yes,
they've lost their last 6, so they're gonna come in here hungry, looking for a win.
Yeah, the Garden, man, in the Garden. Davion Mitchell's gonna want a ball because there were rumors of him getting drafted by the Knicks. Us trading up for him. So
Halliburton's gonna show out because he wanted to come here, I believe, and
Halliburton's got a wild hair up his butt about the Knicks not drafting him.
And he's coming off a crazy performance too. I got him in fantasy, so I keep tabs on him.
Yeah. So he's gonna want to show off. Who else? I mean, it's basically everybody wants to show off against the Knicks.
Yeah, everybody's gonna try to do their thing.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see another good game from RJ, man.
Yeah, we need RJ to step up. Mitch, I want to see Mitch come up big in this game as well.
Mitch should do well in this game, actually. Well, I mean, technically every player should do well against the Kings. Look, they allow 118 points per game.
If we play defense, it should be a game where Cam sees some minutes. 4 minutes, we just get a decent enough lead, or let's put Cam in the game.
Yeah.
And we say this, and now watch, we're going to be in a nail biter with 30 seconds left in the fourth, and we're going to have to watch Julius Randle dribble it for 16, 17 seconds before he makes a decision.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. No, Lord.
It's ridiculous, man.
It is, man. It is. So here's our season leaders. Randle is now below 19 points per game. 18.5 he's averaging, 41.3% field goal. And De'Aaron Fox is averaging 21 points per game, which is down from 25.2. He averaged 25.2 points per game last season. He's down this year. Rebounds, Barnes leads the Kings with 6.1. Randle is 9.9. He's just shy of 10, basically 10. Randle's down to 5 assists per game, which is still excellent for a power forward, no matter how you slice it, but it's down from 6 from last season.
I mean, it's excellent for a power forward until you run off how many turnovers he averages.
Yeah, the turnovers are the killers. Yeah, well, there it is, 3.5 turnovers per game. Oof. And in fact, I believe, yes, hold on. Here's one thing. So I tweeted this out over the weekend. All Knick lineups with Randle on the court are a minus 5.6 differential points per 100 possessions for a 24th percentile ranking, or minus 5.6. All Knick lineups with Randle off the court are a plus 11.7 for a 96 percentile ranking. 96 being 100 being the best and 0 being the worst. That's when cleaning the glass. Now, with Obi, when Obi's on the court and Julius is off, which is almost all the time, we've rarely ever seen them together. Yeah. When Obi's on, the Knicks, all Knick lineups with Obi on the court, the Knicks are a plus 13.3 differential, which is good enough for a 97th percentile. Again, 100 being best. Wow, that really pretty much tells the story right there. There is something else here that I wanted to find that's pretty wild. Here we go. And this is from, I believe, I can't remember who posted this. Over the Knicks' last 5 games, Randle's averaging 13.2 points per game and has as many turnovers as he has assists. 4.4. 4.4. That's where we've reached now. Yeah.
It's brutal, man.
It's brutal. That is brutal. And he's hitting only 38.7% from the floor. 25% 3 points.
Yeah, look what he did. Yeah, in January, he averaged 24.2 from the 3-point line. He's shooting terrible. He's not making his mid-range, turning the ball over crazy. And he's just not giving any effort out there. And he comes up with these statements talking about he really wants to be with the team and he wants to help us, lead us to a championship, et cetera, et cetera. But, I'm tired of the words. We need to see actions out there on the court. Show us you want to be the leader of this team and you want to lead us to the promised land. Don't submit written statements that your agent probably prettied up for you.
Yeah.
Or if you want to use words, at least show up after a poor performance and say it at the press conference. I might believe that a little bit more than a written statement.
Yeah, I know, but he's not going to show up in front of the press until
he drops 30.
Yeah, exactly. Which might be
tonight.
We
shouldn't show up.
Yeah, it might be tonight.
Hey, he's primed for it.
Yeah,
would have been nice to see Fox out there too, though.
It would. I know. De'Aaron Fox is not playing tonight, which is a bummer. He's out. So is Marvin Bagley. D Rose is out, of course. And Nerlens, I believe he is out for tonight.
No way. Is he?
Day-to-day, he's listed as day-to-day, but I haven't heard officially. But I have a feeling that he is probably out.
Let me hit the Twitter world and see what's going on.
Check that out.
There's no way this guy can be in and out the lineup like this.
It's crazy, right? The thing is about Julius, it's like nothing's standing in his way. The offense is constructed so for his benefit. He has the ball in his hands whenever he wants it, right? He gets to play as many minutes as he can handle. It's not like he's not like Obi, where he doesn't have the chance to shine, or
he gets to
RJ
operate with impunity.
Yeah, or even RJ in the beginning of the season when the ball wasn't in his hands enough because it was in Kemba's and Fournier's and Randle's hands. He has no excuses, is my point, for his performance. So if he wants to be here, there's only one way to do it, man. Get it together up here and put it down on the floor. Just make buckets, make the right play.
Be smart.
Be smart, man. Be smart. Oh, man. Well, thanks so much. Oh, Dan Freeman's here. What's up, man?
Salute.
He says, he goes, last year I hated him, but we had Elf.
Yeah, he says Randle has no point guard.
Yeah. Hey, it just hasn't mixed well with Kemba.
I mean, people say that, but Derrick Rose is a point guard and he's out there with him during periods at a time.
And he does well with Rose.
He does well with Rose, but you still see a lot of the same issues. I mean, he might have hit his shots with Rose on the court, but you still see some of the, holding the ball too long, some boneheaded turnovers, some bad shot selection, bad body language. Just because Derrick Rose is on the court doesn't mean, Julius Randle's out there buttoned up and acting like he's, a hardworking member of the team.
Yeah. Brother Contreras, it's the same starting five.
Yep, same starting five.
Same starting five.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? If you want to go with the same starting five, go ahead, but at least mix up the rotations. At least.
Absolutely. I have a feeling we're going to see some Cam tonight. Thibs may be stubborn, but he's not dumb. And he must understand that he's creating a bubble of expectations around Cam now. By keeping him off the court, he basically is creating this sense of, okay, whenever Cam gets out there, he better perform. And if he doesn't perform, it's creating so much more pressure on him as opposed to letting him kind of ease into it. He's going to have to find those minutes for him. It doesn't matter who's in front of him in the rotation.
He fumbled it. He fumbled it when he played him 5 minutes and DMP'd him. Should have played him 5 minutes. Should have played him at least another 5 or 7 minutes. And then see how some of the vets are playing. And if they aren't playing well, then you reduce some of their minutes. And that's how you move forward with the rotation. But this guy says he wants to keep the rotation around 9 and 10 guys. So it's real hard when you kind of limit yourself like that.
Yeah. Thank you. We surveyed 100 people. Update: Noel is playing.
Yeah, I see Bear has the Knicks listed as probable.
Okay. UBG, Randle is not a high IQ player. That's totally what we're seeing. He's being exposed like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bummer, man. Well, I'm afraid to predict anything anymore with these Knicks, but I think we're going to win tonight. I think it's going to be a nice cleansing. Going to take care of business.
Better win, man. They lost 6 in a row. Let's make that 7 in a row.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that Randle, he's due for a breakout game. And tonight might be it. Like a 25 to 26 points, 12 rebounds, hits a couple of 3-pointers, still gets the 4 TOs, but maybe gets 6 assists. He has a decent all-around game. He's engaged on the defensive end. This is the perfect opponent to start trying to turn it around. And it would be nice if RJ also delivered another 20-plus point performance. When the two of them score 20, the team obviously is tough to beat. We need to see Alec Burks wake up. He's been in a funk of late as well. And we need that consistency from Fournier.
Especially from Burks and Fournier, because we're going with the play the vets, try to get these wins, try to showcase their talent so we can trade them. But we're losing games. These guys are not playing well. They're not increasing their trade value, and they're taking up minutes from some of the young guys. So we need for them to start turning a corner so we can get a little bit more value for them in a trade.
Absolutely. New York.
That's a good one.
Yeah. We move his ass to the Kings. Hey, that'd be fun. All right. Lex, always thank you so much for holding it down in the chat. Yes, the thumbs ups would be awesome. Really appreciate that. How many do we have today? And I didn't even look.
I think somebody meant to be at 152 at one point.
Yes, let's go. Nice. Love those numbers.
All
right, let's get this win. Let's get this win. We need it no matter what happens. Losing to the Kings will be utterly devastating.
Yes, let's start this week off right. We got a couple more difficult games after this one, so let's at least put this one in our pocket.
Grizzlies and then Lakers.
Mm-hmm. The Lakers not that tough because you don't know the status of LeBron, but still, you never know.
Yeah, I think we could go 2-1 this week. I wouldn't even honestly. This is such a weird team. I wouldn't even be surprised if we went 3-0 or 0-3. That's
3-0 would surprise me. 0-3 wouldn't surprise me. 3-0 would definitely surprise me. When was our last winning streak? Beginning of January.
At this point, I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised by anything this team does. It's such a bizarro team right now. A lot of turmoil with the New York Knicks. Always high drama. And tonight, of course, we're playing the team that we've been rumored with for a trade partner, which is crazy. All right, Quis, we're going to do it. We're going to sign off.
Yep.
Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to Into the Knicks-Verse and Sports Vibes TV. The next pregame. Next pregame will be on Sports Vibes TV. We alternate. I will be doing a recap after this game tonight. Hopefully, it'll be a fun one to do off a nice win. Though people seem to like when we lose and I do a recap.
Hey, they're looking for some joy somewhere, so they get that out of your video. So that's a big plus.
Exactly. Yeah, man, it'd be awesome. We need a win. We need a win. Man. In fact, I forgot what it's like to win. It's been so long.
Right?
We're like 1-6. Long. We're 1-6 in the last 7 games.
It's rough, man. It's rough.
It is rough.
Rough as a Knicks fan, especially coming off the high of last season. I was not expecting this.
Yeah. I know. I wasn't. And I think that's what's made it more difficult for all of us. We were hoping at least to kind of at least maintain where we were. Maybe we slide down a little bit because the East got a little better, but not completely fall off the table.
Yeah, we're non-competitive in a lot of these games. Back-to-back games where we did not have a lead. Crazy. I need to go to Elias Sports Bureau to see how many times that's happened for a team.
I'm sure it's been bad. I'm sure there's some teams that haven't had leads in a week. Weeks. I'm sure that's happened. And if you can think of it, it's happened. That's crazy.
That's probably the trust the process Sixers.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. And please subscribe. We'll see you soon. Let's go Knicks. Let's get this win tonight. I think we're going to do it. Yes, Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you around the Knicks-Verse.
I know.